Boys, we are back with another video, and today we are talking about KSI versus one of the greatest mixed martial artists on the planet. I can't even say that shit seriously. We're talking about KSI versus Dillon Danis. There's been a lot of hype going into this January 14th pay-per-view. Who's KSI gonna fight? Tyron Woodley, Joe Fournier, Tommy Fury. But not a lot of people thought it would be Dillon Danis. Now, if you don't know who Dillon Danis is a 2-0 MMA fighter. He got in a scuffle with Anthony Taylor at the Misfits weigh-ins. Publicly regarded as one of the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioners in the world. And he's also the most hated personality in MMA. That's not the point. The fight is KSI versus Dillon Danis. And I know a lot of people are disappointed about this, especially because KSI put a poll and Tyron Woodley won. But there's more to this fight than you think. There's a lot of people that have opinions on who KSI should fight, what makes sense for his progression. Oh, how is he ever going to catch up to Jake's level? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm here to explain to you why he chose Dillon Danis and why it turned out to be the best idea. They needed an opponent that would give JJ credibility. They needed an opponent that would sell the fight. They needed an opponent that would expand KSI's audience. And this is the third really big point is, if you notice in Jake Paul's pay-per-views, the show isn't the Jake Paul show, because Jake Paul, as his own name, hasn't proven that he can sell a pay-per-view by himself. Whereas KSI fighting two bums sold 500,000 pay-per-views. So what they're trying to do here is grab a whole new audience that doesn't care about KSI and get that audience to get behind him. And if you don't know what I'm saying, Jake's pay-per-views are Jake versus MMA. He's the villain. He's the heel. The guy that all these MMA fighters and the MMA audience hate. That's how he sells his fights. So what if KSI fights an MMA fighter to get all the MMA media covering his fight, but also he fights the most hated MMA fighter between the media and the public opinion, and he becomes, very WWE of him, MMA's babyface? I don't think you guys understand. If KSI knocks out Dillon Danis, which he has to, the MMA fans and media will get behind him. And you know what that also does? It makes his name bigger. So instead of the KSI show, the Misfits show, where everyone just cares about KSI paying for it, now you have the MMA audience paying for it. And now you basically double your viewership. You make your brand bigger. You make your star power bigger. It's actually a brilliant chess move if you really think about it. And also, if you don't know, Dillon Danis is a former teammate of the one and only Conor McGregor. KSI hasn't put this thing out there that he wants to fight Conor like that, like Jake has. If you get the attention of Conor McGregor because you fight his teammate, he's in the same management, on the same team, that is big for your pay-per-view as well. You get Conor talking about it, you get the MMA media talking about it, and you get the MMA media behind you, because when you do fight Jake, then instead of it just being the YouTube audience buying your pay-per-view, it'll also be the MMA audience paying for you, because now they will care for you because you knocked out the most hated person in MMA. So if you really think about it, it is a brilliant chess move, but there also are a bit of negatives. So I am a KSI fan. I wouldn't call myself a super big Jake Paul fan, but I would say I'm a fan of Jake. I watch his fights. I like the heel thing he does. And I'm going at this with a completely unbiased opinion. I'm going to let you know now. Would I have rather watched KSI have another fight? Yes. I would have rather watched KSI fight Tyron Woodley or Joe Fournier for competition, to help find somebody that will meet him in the middle and he gets that challenge, and we find out, is he better than Jake? Can he knock out Woodley like Jake did? Can he dominate Woodley? He doesn't have to knock out Woodley, but can he even dominate him? Because that might even be a bigger statement. But they chose Dillon Danis. I know they sent a contract to Woodley and there's a lot of drama there. There was a rehydration clause that Woodley didn't like, which was a little weird because Woodley walks around at 190. Them making him rehydrate to 185 at most is not really that big of a deal, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. They went with Dillon Danis at the end of the day. Could it have been a better opponent? Yes, but it does check all the boxes for a path for JJ to be an even bigger pay-per-view star, to have more credibility, and also he's gonna be in there with somebody that actually wants to fight him. You know that Dillon Danis is gonna talk mad shit, and KSI humbles him, it's just even bigger for him. This fight is going to be huge, and he's not going to fight Jake after this. A lot of people are like, oh, he has to fight Jake after this. If he's smart, his team will be like, okay, we got rid of Dillon Danis. Now let's go for Woodley. Let's go for Fournier or even a Tommy Fury, depending on how the landscape is. But right now, this is a brilliant, smart play from the Zone, Misfits, and them just to keep building KSI's name, and no drama between you have to compare him to Jake, this and that. It's a fresh opponent. Dillon has history with Jake, so there's a connection there. But for real, KSI needs to make a big statement in this fight. He can't leave any doubts, because he's gonna go in there saying how hard he trains, which he does, how good he is, how much better he is than Jake. So he needs to prove it. Even though there's a lot of unknowns with Dillon, this is a guy that he has to get out of there, and get out of there in devastating fashion to make a point, because Jake Paul just made a freaking statement against Anderson Silva. And that's what makes this even more exciting, because he knows that. Him and his team know that. Don't hunt for the knockout right away. You have to box your way there and earn that knockout, and all the rest will come. But yeah, boys, I'm excited for Misfits X Zone Series 4. Let me know what your thoughts are. Please leave all your thoughts in the comments. Leave a like on this video. In the live stream the other night, watching the fights with you guys, I had the time of my life. And I just want to say thank you for all the new subscribers we have. It's only up from here. I got another banger coming out for you guys soon, so I'm gonna catch you then. Peace.
Shoot like hoops while I'm riding in the coupe. I got what you want, it ain't nothing but a